Something's working today. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca Cuddy. I'm the Institutional Repository Librarian at UNC Chapel Hill, and I'm here with my colleague Dave Campbell, who's a
Hello.
software developer in the libraries. Saying hi, Dave.
Hi. Nice to meet everybody.
He's also the tech lead for the Carolina Digital Repository. So we recently integrated dimensions into the CDR, which is our Hyrax-based repository, and we wanted to tell you a bit about it. So I'll start out by giving an introduction to the CDR, just talk about kind of our challenges that we hope to address with this project. And then I will turn it over to Dave to talk more about how we've actually accomplished this. And then we'll talk about some next steps if we have some time. So the CDR is an institutional repository. Um, we have an open access policy at UNC, which enables us to do a lot of the work that we're going to be talking about in the presentation. We're also aided because we're a public university. We have a really strong public mission. This is really important to a lot of folks here. So we're really grateful to have that support. The CDR is the main repository that supports the open access policy. And we've done a lot of efforts over the years to be focused on gathering scholarship and making it publicly available. So we're running Hyrax 4, and there's a link to the CDR on the slide if folks want to take a look. So we've run into a few challenges making scholarship available, which I think a lot of the repository managers in the audience will be really familiar with. So as you folks probably know, there's a low rate of self-deposit in institutional repositories in general. There's a citation on the bottom of the slide to an article by Ruth Tillman that I like to refer people to because it's across the board problem. I mean, I get it. Folks don't want to fill out forms. They can't track down copies of their old articles. And it gets really tedious to figure out which versions of the article you can deposit without, angering the publishing gods. So it just goes down to the bottom of folks' lists of to-dos. UNC also produces a lot of scholarship. It's really hard to keep up. We're Research One, we have a med school, and oh boy, are our faculty prolific in their publications. I did a search for publications in 2023, and we have almost 10,000 articles published in just that year. So that's kind of the scale we're talking about here. A lot of universities will use tools like a faculty activity tracker to connect their repository. We don't have that at UNC. It's something that has been discussed at the institution level, and it just hasn't happened. So we don't have that available. And then a final challenge is staffing constraints. Dave and I are the only two staff members that are fully dedicated to this repository. We have other staff members who split their time between the CDR and other repository systems, and we're really, really grateful for their help. But there's a lot of things to do, a lot of scholarship to get through, and we don't have a lot of time. So many of our ongoing content initiatives consisted of formatting CSVs and loading via bulk racks, which seems to be a common thing that folks in the community do. And so you all are very familiar with this, that it takes some time. And we've been wanting to automate a lot of steps in this process for a while. And we especially wanted to do regular uploads of recent content. Most of our previous content loading projects were focused more on back content. So the Office of Research at UNC had purchased a subscription to Dimensions, which is a digital science product. They describe themselves as the world's largest linked research database, and they cover a lot of different aspects of the research cycle and scholarship, as you can see on the slide. They had a few API keys, and we got one, yay. So we were able to connect dimensions in the CDR and import metadata for articles that were covered by our open access policy. So we were looking at articles that were published from January 2016 to the present. So I'm going to hand things over now to Dave, who will talk more about the technical side of things.
Thanks, Rebecca. And first, I just wanted to apologize for not having my camera on. Um, yeah, but my name is Dave, and I'll be giving a brief high-level technical overview of the Dimensions ingest utility. Um, the process starts by running the Dimensions ingest publications command. Um, it accepts a date range and an admin set as inputs. And from there, there are three main services that will handle the ingest of publications we've deemed as open access. Um, these services, the aforementioned services, are included in the diagram on the right. Um, we'll be going through each of these services step by step, and I'll explain how they interact to complete the ingest process. Um, moving into the first part of the process, let's start with the query service. It pulls metadata from the Dimensions API using a dynamically generated query string to target UNC affiliated publications. Uh, Once retrieved, the metadata goes through a deduplication process and is passed on to the next stage of processing. Uh, And next up is the Dimensions ingest service, which takes the metadata from the previous step and creates new articles in the CDR. Uh, since CDR article metadata does not map one-to-one with dimensions, we had to use custom mappings to make sure that the process went smoothly. Um, and if a full text PDF link is available, it's extracted and attached to the new article within the CDR. At the end of this step, new articles are compiled into a list for the next stage of the process. Um, so the uh, dimensions reporting services handles the final stage of the ingest process. Quick note, our diagram is now missing on the right, but this is still part of the same three-step ingest process. Um, what the Dimensions reporting service does is it generates an email summarizing overall results of the process, an example of which is included on the right. Um, Articles are split into three tables, uh, into two tables, sorry, one for successful ingests and one for errors. Um, Rows for the successfully ingested articles include CDR links along with indicators for attached PDFs if we were able to attach them. And error rows provide details on what went wrong, helping us identify where adjustments are needed. Um, Wrapping up the technical section with a few key takeaways. Um, Custom mappings were very important to getting new publications integrated smoothly since once again the dimensions metadata did not map one-to-one with what with our existing structure. Dividing the utility into modular separate services for the query ingest and reporting made the code overall more easier to understand, test, and maintain. um, Strong unit testing helped ensure the utility overall behaved as expected, which was important for both reliability and data integrity. And automated reporting let us catch unexpected behavior quickly and make adjustments as needed. With that, I am going to hand it back over to Rebecca.
Thanks, Dave. So some numbers for you. We ingested about 54,000 works via Dimensions published during the open access period. This adds to the 52,000 open access articles that we had already put in CDR via our other content initiatives. So all of our works ingested via Dimensions are private because we still have some work to do to make sure they can be posted. Um, so the Dimensions script, as Dave mentioned, imports metadata-only works and works which have a PDF. So sometimes we have to go find the PDF that belongs to a metadata-only work and meets the parameters set by our university councils for the open access policy. Um, we need to edit the metadata to add a few things, including making sure that our affiliations match our department vocabulary. And we also add relationships to other works if the article we're working on is a correction or erratum, or if it belongs to a collection that we administer. And we also will add an embargo period if the publisher policy requires one. Okay, next steps, real quick. So we will continue to vet articles in the backlog. We would like to be able to do some enhancements to this workflow and automate some more processing steps. And we're also working on adding metadata and content from other sources. Our leadership has asked us actually to focus on federal repositories as additional content sources, given the state of federal research at the moment. So Dave has been working on ingesting works into the CDR from PubMed. So here's our contact information. Feel free to get in touch with us. Heather, do we have time for questions?
Yeah, you probably have time for one or two questions. Yeah.
Looks like Emily is asking, do you deposit all your open access work into a single Hyrax collection? It all goes into the same admin set. We have a specific admin set for open access because our scholarly communications folks would like people who are depositing via the web form to only be able to choose public or an embargo option and not be able to use private. Does UNC have symplectic elements? Is that a source of ingest? We do not. The university has been talking about adding symplectic elements, geez, ever since I've been here, so like 8 years now at least, and it just has not happened yet. I would love to get my hands on symplectic, but it just hasn't happened. Have you considered connecting to metadata sources that provide links to CC licensed open access binary files, OpenAlex on paywall? Yes, that is actually one of the sources that I would love to do as an enhancement. I have been a little skeptical of using Dimensions just because it is subscription based, and if there's ever a budget cut, it could possibly go away, although we've been assured that it won't. But OpenAlex is definitely on my radar, and I am really excited to see that you have a connector, so we will be exploring that in the future. Thanks.